Well, the Rodgers family starts in Hardin County in the early 1960s, I guess, is basically when you say. My father was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, came to UK, moved to Kentucky to a family farm near Sonora, Kentucky. My mother raised in Caldwell County, Princeton, Kentucky, went to UK, that's where they met, and then she came to Hardin County as the Hardin County extension agent.
I grew up on a farm, was active in 4-H, and I had a first cousin that was 4 years ahead of me. She was a 4-H'er, and then she majored in home economics at UK. So I had a pattern in front of me. I went to UK basically to work for Extension Service in 4-H and to promote the 4-H program. That was my objective in my life. And I came here and worked 33 years. I enjoyed every bit of it. We had state champions, state officers, style review winners, all kinds of state champions.
I remember making my apron was my very first project, and it went from that all the way up to the style shows at Teen Week with some outfits that I made in my teenage years. So I still sew. I actually brought Mom a couple of pillows last night that I put together, and that was a big part. I went to the National Congress in Chicago on a home ec with a home ec project. That was a lot. Keith went as well. Mom went.
Yes.
In her day, she was a national clothing winner, and she still has the Singer sewing machine that they gave her for that. So I think those are really special moments.
Yeah, I remember as probably back to the age of 5 or 6 going to 4-H meetings, but all of that led to really where I wanted to be was in civic involvement and leadership, which ultimately led me to the state teen council opportunity in the days that the teen council was starting back in the mid-70s, when Dennis Goodman was the state leader for teens, and ultimately to be elected state 4-H president in 1977-78.
The 4-H program has been quite successful in Hardin County. I've had 9 4-H club girls that came through the home furnishings, the foods, or the clothing project that have graduated in home economics, went on for advanced degrees. One of the girls worked for the Singer Sewing Company in New York City. She later was president of the community college in Owensboro for 8 years term. We have another one that got her doctor's degree. She worked on the Kentucky 4-H staff for her career. That was Wendy Stivers.
Well, I think Jackie was just the perfect home economics person, or perfect little woman, because at that point in time, women didn't work outside the home as much. To find a professional woman who was married with children was very difficult. Not difficult, but just didn't happen. You were either a teacher or a nurse or maybe a secretary. So she became, the professional woman of the community and was very involved with the homemakers clubs and with just anything that was going on at the county fair, anything that was homemake related. The community really loved and respected her for who she was. She was just a role model for myself and my 2 sisters. In fact, all 3 of us majored in home economics at the University of Kentucky, and I think we all did. One of the reasons was because of Jackie and the kind of person she was as a family member and also as a community member.
She mentioned my husband's name. He went by Chuck Rodgers, and he was always supportive of the program, particularly because I had a lot of night meetings with this teenage 4-H group and other groups, civic groups, some civic groups as well. So he was always supportive, but also when they wanted to do that first 4-H exchange trip, they needed a bus driver. So he said, yeah, he'd take time, and took them to Missouri for a week. And so he was always supportive of the program, whatever way it was.
We were exposed to a lot as children and as kids, but 4-H was able to take that to the next level. And 4-H really kind of gave me the opportunity to learn about what else is out there. And that's what developed into the career that I've had, where I've worked on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. In the 95-96 Farm Bill. I ran the Governor's Office of Ag Policy during the Fletcher administration, now Chief of Staff at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. So, my love for agriculture was there, but it was a lot of the exposure that 4-H gave me to Washington, D.C., to National 4-H Congress. When I was state 4-H president, to being able to travel to other conferences and speak at those conferences on behalf of Kentucky 4-H was just those opportunities to broaden that and really develop the love for agriculture policy and agriculture leadership that has led me through my career.
But I think that's one of the critical things of 4-H that you just really can't put your finger on. It isn't the apron, it isn't the rifle, it isn't the tractor driving, it isn't electrical projects or whatever. It's that camaraderie and understanding how to work with people and how to put yourself in the best position to move forward that I think was really the gift of 4-H.
After my time in Frankfurt during the Fletcher administration at the Governor's Office of Ag Policy, I had the opportunity to come over and be the executive director for the 4-H Foundation after we had converted it from Forensical 4-H to the 4-H Foundation, somewhere around 2004 or 5, if I remember right. And then spent nearly 8 years as the executive director of the 4-H Foundation. And so we did that, and then also it was during that time period that we developed the Ag Tag program. The farm license plate had been around for several years. The funding mechanism had been created a few years earlier, but 4-H and FFA were not benefiting directly from those two logos or emblems being on that license plate. And so it was myself and David Wallace and a handful of others from FFA, former Commissioner Billy Ray Smith, who basically went to Frankfurt, worked and lobbied to get that commitment that 1/3 of those Ag Tag dollars would each go to 4-H and 1/3 to FFA and then 1/3 to the Department of Agriculture.
It's a real honor to be recognized, especially as a family. And the first thing my husband said to me is, "It's too bad your dad's not here," which is true.
Yes.
Because he was a big supporter of everything that we did in 4-H and loved to have the kids around. I remember one particular teen council meeting, we went down to the farm, and I swear he drove the wagon on the hayride for like 3 hours. We were out all night, all over the southern part of the county. It was magnificent and fun and crazy all at the same time. So it's a huge honor to be recognized. I looked back at the other families that have been recognized the other day, and wow, to be included in that is just really special. And I too can't say enough about how just the whole experience impacted my entire life.
I can't think of any family more deserving than that family and all they've done for 4-H and agriculture programs and international programs. I would say to all the Rodgers family, congratulations on this award, because there's not a family that's more deserving of this award in Kentucky. You all just epitomize perfection in community involvement as a family and everything that you've done from the agriculture and home economics perspective. I have the ultimate respect and love for the entire family, and I think it's just great that they've won this award.
I like to think that every one person lives for the day, because it might be their last day, but I also read that they need to leave it in a sweet situation, whatever the day closes. So I wish for all of them just the pledge that we all enjoy for 4-H and hope for them in the future.